We observed procedures, we agreed to training effectiveness, and we agreed also that there must be, training should not be done just because training has to be done. Training has to be effective. And one person pointed out, for that training to be effective, we must have monitoring and evaluation of that training. Because somebody can just attend the training and just say, well, I'll be gone for the next 2 days, enjoy the break, enjoy the lunch. Oh, this was a wonderful experience, I'll go back tomorrow again. You know, but to actually put the training into practice in the particular situation, it is not done. So we need to have some monitoring. And we say that when we talk about accountability, especially in government social service agencies, the PS is where the buck stops. So there needs to be some sort of intervention, collaborative intervention with PSs and heads of organizations to ensure that the delivery of service is what it should be. Everybody agrees with that? Yes. PS, the PSs, this is where the buck stops. So training has to be done at this level for PSs. We also looked at what point do we share information that is of interest to the various agencies. And we agreed that perhaps a database might of various activities or various occurrences, various activities can be started so that the information is shared across agencies, an inter-agency sort of database. But there would be limited access according to who you are in terms of the hierarchy of your agency to the types of information that is available to people, to different persons. We looked at types of training that is needed, and we have a long list. Interpersonal skills, policy formulation, advocacy, communication skills, and we broke that down to phone etiquette, to report writing, to various areas to improve the communication process between agencies. We also there is need for training in work ethics and integrity, in stress management in the workplace, basic counseling for all workers in these agencies. How do you counsel somebody who just comes into the agency if a counselor is not available? I know Mr. Law said yesterday that everybody can do it, but I think everybody can do it, but I think the overwhelming feeling was that there is a special skill in terms of counseling that everybody needs to undergo. It will assist us, Mr. Law. But we also said there needs to be training of the trainers, if you wish, so that they can do debriefing, especially for workers who are in traumatic situations. And we were saying that nurses, for example, in the ER experience great trauma themselves, and they need to be counseled accordingly so that the situation does not become too critical or too traumatic for them. And that also goes for police officers. It was pointed out that many people believe that when a police officer kills a civilian, it is something that is, a flippant. They just do it because, hey, I just needed to shoot somebody. The fact is, police who face these types of situations go through psychological upheavals, and they need to be debriefed accordingly so that they can handle their tasks. We also said training in project management, because persons who may want to start different projects in their communities, etc., need to know how to go about doing it in the right way. And finally, we said that there needs for all workers media relations. And it was asked, how should the media approach covering traumatic or bloody situations? And I just want to point out, as I pointed out in the group, there is a protocol which was released some years ago by the International Journalist Federation on how the media should cover women and children in violent situations. So you can check that out online. But the media came in for a good bit of bashing in our group. And it's always a case of a balance between the types of coverage that I say the police needs as opposed to the stories being chased by the media. They're always in a rush to get it first, as before the competitors, and because of this, there may be missteps in the reporting and in interfering with the investigations by the police or by the agency. So media relations has to be put on the list. Did I forget? I think that's the end of it. Anything else?
The third question, how did you respond to the third question? Ways to share information?
That database. That's what we had said, the database. Okay. Oh. So, any questions? Well said. Well, I must thank my group, and I would like to identify our group members for doing such a prolific job. And afterwards, stand up so that you can get your Nadia Placid, Qinnipiac Thomas. Yes, okay. Cheryl. What? Cheryl? Phillips? Oh, Felix. Joel Brown. Yes, your applause. Ramona Saltabus. Jennifer Walter. Alicia Baptiste. Diana Fanis. And Chelsea Foster. Round of applause for Group 1. Yay!
But we also have somebody who was writing, so she will give you.
That was very comprehensive. I think it was very, very good job. Very good job. I really thought that would be one of the harder groups in terms of discussion, but you made it sound easy. You made it sound like here's what we need to do and let's do it. So very good, very good. Any comments, anything that you want to add to that? Again, this was about the larger structural issues, political context, accountability, any other comments that we missed that you would like to add? Speaks to the completeness of the group report. Very good. Very good. Then let's move on to group number 2. Group number 2 and group number 5 actually were given collaboration challenges, including understanding each other's roles, the conflict of protocol goals or aims, and the lack of consistent collaboration across agencies. So we're going to start with number 2, and then we will move to group 5 if we have time. If not, we'll break for lunch and we'll come back and do group 5.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So like she mentioned, for group number 2, our focus was on collaboration challenges between the agencies. And for the first question, as far as how we can collaborate better between the agencies and exactly what can be done, what we discussed for one is better communication between the agencies, and of course that goes without saying, more respectful communication, understanding the rules and procedures. For example, since the police are usually the first point of contact for the victims or in any crime scene, the other agencies understanding the rules and the procedures and the protocols of the police is imperative, because for one, knowing what to expect when you're dealing with the police, we have to know, and secondly, if they're not following the protocol, it would be helpful for us to know so that we can, speak to them about actually following the protocol. With the other agencies, when they are the points of contact for the victim, for example, the advocacy groups, counseling, and so on, we had a suggestion that there would be one common form or commonalities between the forms when they're taking information about the incident or about the victim. So we discussed two separate specific issues, for example, dealing with just general victims of sexual violence, and then specifically victims of sexual violence who were mental patients as well. So that spoke specifically between the collaboration between the police, the medical professionals, for example, Victoria Hospital staff, and staff here at the Wellness Center. And one suggestion that we had was if there were an emergency room here at the Wellness Center, because currently the procedure is that the police would take the patient, the mental patient, who's also a sexual violence victim, to the emergency room at Victoria Hospital. And if it's their first incident, as far as the mental aspect, they would have to go to Victoria Hospital first and then come here to the Wellness Center, whereas if they have been a patient of the Wellness Center, that's the only way that they can come directly here. But if there were an emergency room here where they can get testing and everything done here, that would eliminate a whole portion of the process. So that's one suggestion. And also another suggestion is having a contact person in each organization to facilitate the communication between the agencies. So a contact person at VH, here, and with the police, or more than one contact person, because there was the issue of having, if that contact person was not available, having issues dealing with the agencies and having to wait. Another suggestion that we had was education of the public via the media of exactly what the protocol is when dealing with these situations, having a code of ethics, and also having an on-call person in each organization who's available not just from 9 to 5 or 9 to 4, but 24/7, because the police have the issue of dealing with these agencies and not being able to get anyone after usual working hours. So for example, the women's shelter and the crisis center should have someone who's on call beyond those working hours. Yes, that was the suggestion. At least one person who can be available after 5 o'clock.
24/7.
You all are 24/7, and that's where? Women's Support Center, okay. Anybody from the crisis center can say anything? Up to 5, okay, so the suggestion was that the crisis center would also have someone available. And that was all for the first question, if anybody has any questions. Okay.
With regards to having an emergency room at the wellness, remember with the OKEU, hospitals will be managed under one complex. So it will be close proximity for the emergency.
Okay, and that would eliminate the need for an emergency room, you're saying? Okay.
And the facilities are much better at the OKEU.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so with regards to, was there another question? Yes, no? Okay, so with regards to the training aspect, our suggestions were that part of the training in each organization should include information on the protocol of the police and the other agencies, which was part of what I mentioned in the first section. So knowing your job should include knowing how to deal with these situations and how to deal with the other agencies, and exactly how you're expected to go about communicating with them, knowing who to contact in these agencies as well. We also suggested that in certain positions there should be psychological testing before somebody is given a position in certain organizations. And there should also be debriefing between the organizations, customer service trainings as well, common standard trainings between common organizations. So all the organizations who do similar things should have common trainings across the board. And we also suggested that there should be a common board which governs those organizations as well. So beyond the trainings, there should be a board that's impartial, who can actually come and follow up and make sure that they are following the protocol correctly. That's all for the training aspect. If anybody has any questions. Okay. And for the last question, our suggestions were, okay, so apparently there is a law governing exactly how the media reports certain stories, and there was the complaint that it's not exactly enforced. So the first suggestion was to actually enforce, the law which governs how the media reports stories. We also suggested that there should be, that's, if you all didn't remember, the third question was governing the confidentiality aspect of those victims, their information, and how it's released to the public. So we also suggested that there should be coding, and that's across the board between the agencies. So instead of identifying victims by names, the victims would be identified by a code. And I mean, we do understand that it's a small community, well, St. Lucia is a small island, so I mean, that might not be entirely effective, but it is a step in the right direction. So we also suggested that there should be a database and a sex offenders registry, and that media releases should be based on police statements and not necessarily based on interviews with people in the community on the issue, or like my team member suggested on the jukebox situation. There should also be repercussions for any personnel from any organization who leaks information, whether it be to somebody in another organization or to the media. So it happens now, but there are no repercussions, and there should be. And since the first point of contact should always be the police, the media should not be allowed to interview victims before police contact or during the investigation. Thank you. Specific to like court proceedings, one of my team members is actually attached to family court, which is within the 2nd District Court in Beaufort. And right now their situation is that the family court, they don't have a separate building or even a separate office, which compromises both privacy and confidentiality for victims down there. So the suggestion, first of all, is that there needs to be a separate office where privacy can be maintained. And also a separate room in-house for a social worker. There needs to be more collaboration as well within the agencies, so that in the absence of the main contact person, for example, if I'm calling an agency and the main contact person is not there, right now it's usually difficult to get any information from somebody until that person gets back from vacation or maternity leave. So there should be more collaboration within the agency so that they actually know the information and can give it to the relevant authorities in the event that it's needed. So collaboration between the agencies is important, and also within the agencies. Okay, that was all. Any questions?